What up, everybody? This is yours truly again, Rama Screen. Sorry, this is take two. I apologize. Here's the thing with my Wi-Fi. I have Spectrum, and it's not really reliable. Um, I don't know if you have Spectrum as well, but Spectrum is the worst. So I was in the middle of giving you my live review of Doom Patrol, and then it just cut down. The connection just like it went off. Like So I apologize. So I'm gonna make this fast because I spoke too long, I guess, in the first take. So in this take two, I'm just gonna just get straight to the point. Again, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I'm giving you my review of today's Doom Patrol Season 1, Episode 10, titled Hair Patrol. But I'll be spilling some spoilers in this one. This review is mainly for those of you, my fellow Doom Patrol fans, who also have watched today's episode. Okay, so last week we saw Robot Man getting inside Crazy Jane's head with the help of Negative Man. And so Robot Man meets Crazy Jane's many personalities. So while that's happening, we see now in today's episode, what Cyborg and Rita Farr are doing. That's basically the gist or one of the big parts of today's episode. And meanwhile, while they are still trying to figure out where, Niles Calder is, um, there's this character called Ernest, and he is the epitome of a loser. He lives in the basement of his mom. he's he's like Howie from the Big Bang Theory in the first few seasons of the Big Bang Theory. Will like mom, I'm busy here. And it's like no, go to grocery. It's like oh mom, a lot of yelling going on, and then he gets hired by the Bureau of Normalcy. A refresher: Bureau of Normalcy is this government agency that hunts down things that are not normal, oddities in life. Um, it's different from the agency, the Time Bureau in Legends of Tomorrow, where they capture creatures to study them or to figure out how to coexist with them, um, or to bring the creatures back to where they belong, whatever time and era. Bureau of Normalcy hunts down things that are abnormal because the Bureau or the government thinks that those things are an abomination. And so what happened last week with the or the I think the episode before that was about the street named Danny, who is a gender queer. And so it's an empowering kind of episode about LGBTQ community against bigotry. And so um, they hire Ernest, aka the Beard Hunter, to track down Niles. Now, this Beard Hunter is such a fascinating character. Now, I did not grow up reading Doom Patrol comic books, so I try to look up on Doom Patrol wiki, like, okay, um, where is this Beard Hunter fella? I want to know more about him on the pages, but apparently he's not in there. Now, I may have been looking in the wrong direction. You can tell me if I'm getting it wrong, but I did not find any information of the Beard Hunter on the wiki pages of Doom Patrol comics. So he seems like a character that was written straight for this show. Um, be that as it may, there's his superpower is he would eat like literally facial hair or beard, hence the title Hair Patrol. And that's how he can hunt down his target. Once he eats just a tiny follicle of your hair, he will know everything about you. So at one point in this episode, he takes that when you shave your facial hair or shave your beard in the sink, your hair gets stuck in the drain. He pulls that thing out. This is the leftover of Dr. Niles' facial hair. Pull that thing out of the sink, and he eats it like literally. And the camera goes up close. I was like, oh man, really? Doom Patrol goes for the discomfort, man. And there's nothing more discomforting than this character. This character is so repulsive, and you got to give credit where credit is due. The actor who plays this character, the Beard Hunter, he plays it to the max. He really, he's just like, you can tell that he's just having a blast playing this guy, and he looks the part, uh, like a grown ass loser. Like he's heavy set, and he's got that expression like, oh man, I hate my life, but now I have a purpose in this thing. And he takes pride in his superpower. So gotta give credit where credit is due. This guy performs this character really, really well, even though it's just one episode. So he gets confronted by Cyborg and Rita, but because the Beard Hunter gets to eat a part of Cyborg's facial hair, he knows Cyborg's move ahead of time. Like he knows how to control Cyborg. That's why Cyborg's machine kind of goes acting up, and it's like Cyborg's like, whoa, I don't know how to control it. It's because the Beard Hunter pretty much has it under his control, and that is all possible just because he ate a part of Cyborg's facial hair. It's the weirdest, wackiest episode yet. If you thought that previous episodes regarding, that one time when Mr. Nobody turned the police into pinatas, you thought that was weird, you got to check out today's episode. It's just bananas, bonkers. uh, so uh, that's why the room, or the laboratory, gets messed up. By the time Crazy Jane wakes up, Robot Man last week says like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And Cyborg and Rita says like, "Long story. It's because Cyborg loses control of his own machine because of under control by the Beard Hunter." So that whole mess, that whole shenanigan, is a big part of what happens in today's episode. Um, it seems that the Beard Hunter also gets inside or messes with Cyborg's head. So he's basically telling Cyborg like, you don't want to find Dr. Niles. You're just acting like you want to find Dr. Niles, but you don't really wanna. Otherwise you would have been out there by now. You're afraid of what you're about to find out. You're afraid that your picture, or your yeah, your description, or your experience of Dr. Niles, you're afraid to, if you find out that is different when you encounter him, that that's not the Dr. Niles that you knew. Um, because in the mind of Cyborg, Dr. Niles is nothing like his dad. Dr. Niles is nurturing, is mentoring to him, is like the antithesis of his dad, who Cyborg sees as somebody that's manipulative, right? So he doesn't trust his own dad, but he trusts Dr. Niles. So so the the way the Beard Hunter gets inside the Cyborg's head is basically saying like, hey, yeah, you're probably saying that you want to find Dr. Niles, but you're afraid of finding out the truth. What if Dr. Niles that you face or encounter is not the same as the picture of Dr. Niles that you had when you were younger, when you were spending time with him? Because remember, I think that's that one character in the previous episode, or two previous episodes before, he told Cyborg like, I think you and I have two different versions of Dr. Niles, or you and I know two different versions of Dr. Niles. So that's the dealio about Cyborg, that is presented in this episode. The other arc that happens in the Hair Patrol is regarding Dr. Niles. So finally, right? The thing is, with Timothy Dalton, the former James Bond, he's not necessarily the series regular of Doom Patrol. Um, he is part of the cast as recurring role, so he only shows up like once in a blue moon. So finally, we get to see him again in a much meatier screen time than before. And in this one, we see his past, his memory. And later on in this episode, we also get to see Alan Tudyk again. Oh my God, Alan Tudyk, Disney's go-to guy. Disney always hires Alan Tudyk, Disney Animation, to voice many of the characters, including the upcoming Aladdin movie, where he would voice Iago, the parrot. So anyway, um, in this other arc, the second arc of this episode, we see Dr. Niles in the early 1900s as an explorer working for the Bureau of Oddity, not normalcy, but oddity. And he has a friend with him. And this friend is played by actor Max Martini. You may have known him from uh, 13 Soldiers, Michael Bay's movie, and also the Unit series. Max Martini is an actor who is typecast to play a lot of military roles, soldier roles. And I don't think he minds. And you know what? I interviewed him once. So I presented the link to the YouTube video of my interview with Max Martini, and you can watch it there. Nicest fellow, one of the nicest fellows I've ever interviewed. So he plays the friend of Dr. Niles in this, so he's like the bodyguard. And at one point, they get attacked by wolves and they get separated. And long story short, Dr. Niles spends the next, I want to say 3-4 years in that wilderness with this um, cave girl. Let's just call her cave girl. She is from the ancient, Stone Age cave era. For whatever reason, she has lived for eternally, but she still is simple-minded. She still thinks that she's in the cave age, and she has that furry thing going on. She's still hairy. She's still, you know, uh, only speaks little, and after a while, they form a bond and they form a romance relationship. So Dr. Niles actually gets romantically involved with this cave girl. And long story short, 1915, 1916 comes around, and as you know, that's the World War One. Max Martini's character comes back. Turns out he survived that wolf attack, and he encounters Niles, and by this time he says, "Hey, um, the Bureau of Oddity now is or has changed. We've evolved. We don't just find the oddities of the world; we exterminate them." So his mission is now new. His mission is like, you know what? I'm gonna hunt down your girlfriend, your hairy little girlfriend. Now you're gonna lead me to her. And of course, that doesn't happen. And I won't spoil to you what exactly or the fate of Max Martini's character in this one. Uh, let's just say that he never sees the hairy little girl or meets the little hairy girl, and Dr. Niles leaves that area in order to protect or in order to keep that area secret, so that nobody will find her. So Dr. Niles comes back to civilization and he tells his fellow explorers, "Hey, you know what? Up in that Yukon territory in Alaska, there's nothing there to find, my friend. There's nothing. So if you go up there and explore and try to find Yeti or whatever, or Sasquatch, you won't find a thing. There's nothing to find there." So that's the lie that he spreads around in order to protect that region and to protect her. So at one point during this arc, Niles hurts his legs badly. Now I thought that was gonna be the point when, because we wonder, like, okay, how did Niles become disabled, right? Because he's on a wheelchair. Like how did that happen? What's the origin story to that? I thought that was it. I thought that was, but turns out it was not. So um, I don't know when we're gonna get to see that origin of how he became crippled. Um, but what is revealed is that is a memory of his past, and you see Alan Tudyk back again as Mr. Nobody, and Mr. Nobody confronts Niles, Chief, And turns out Mr. Nobody wants to know the location of that eternal cave girl. He wants to know. So now it makes sense. Like, because you wonder, like, why did Mr. Nobody kidnap the chief? Why? For what reason is it? Like, now we know he wants to locate the cave girl. But now the next question is like, okay, what benefit would finding the cave girl give to Mr. Nobody? Why does Mr. Nobody want to find her? So, of course, the chief doesn't, he stands his grounds like, I don't care if you're going to hurt my children, the Doom Patrol. You'll never break me. I'll never tell you where she is. Um, wow. I'm like, goes to show that he loves her more than he loves his kids, the Doom Patrol. But that's where we are right now. That's the stance. So my thought about all that is, it's good to see a little flashback of a past of Niles. We get to know him a little bit better, and obviously he's an idealist, but he doesn't mind taking another man's life in order to protect that idealism. So I don't know if that kind of defeats the meaning of idealism on his part. It may make him an hypocrite because of that. But it also goes to show where his love for um, odd things, where that came to be. Because you know that Dr. Niles saved Clifford Steele, and he rescued Larry Trainer, and of course he rescued Crazy Jane and Rita Farr. So these are rejects of the world. These are characters who society deem like, ew, they're not normal, they suck, like, look at them, they're ugly, they're freaks. But Dr. Niles sees potential in them, and Dr. Niles like, okay, you may be just a functioning brain, but I'm going to put that brain in a robot and make you move again. Or like, okay, you may have multiple personalities, but you are still an individual that I can care about. And um so we know where that stems from. Now it all stems from his encounter and his the time that he spends with that cave girl, who happens to also have this power, where she can summon this big ass Sasquatch, man. And we see the Sasquatch back again, or this creature back again, by the end of today's episode, where he attacks the Beard Hunter, when the Beard Hunter finds a puppet version of Niles Calder. Oh my god! So overall, here's the thing: why I like Doom Patrol. Um, and I know that many of you probably find Doom Patrol so weird and too far out there for me. Like, give me, come on, just give me another season of Titans. Give me another Robin. Give me another somebody that's familiar. Which, by the way, it's interesting how Titans only had 11 episodes, right? And then Swamp Thing. You heard the news recently. Swamp Thing was supposed to have. It was initially set to have 13 episodes, but they cut it down to 10, so they had to reshoot some stuff to make the episodes count down to 10. So for properties or characters that are familiar, like Titans and Swamp Thing, this universe is like, you know what, we're just gonna give them like 11 or 10. We're not gonna give them too many episodes. But somebody, or a property, or characters that are not too popular or too familiar, like Doom Patrol, they're like, yeah, we're gonna go full 15, man. um I don't know if it has to do with budget, or I'm curious to see why the DC Universe execs or the producers feel more confident in Doom Patrol more than Swamp Thing. I would love to know the answer to that why. Definitely curious about that. Um, but here's the thing: why I like Doom Patrol, and I'm glad that they gave it 15 episodes, that they have that much confidence in this show. Is It's just so trippy. It's a mind trippy kind of show. Um, where, as I mentioned many times before, where it's mostly about existential, existential introspective journey of oneself for each of the characters, or sometimes they'd be like team up, like two at a time or three at a time. Mostly about that, but also it's just there's so many unexpected situations and other equally odd characters that come and go. Just like the Beard Hunter, and that's what makes this show really, really unique. And on top of that, the show is not afraid or doesn't shy away from getting really close in there in order to, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable a little bit, just like today with the eating of the beard hair thing. But it's like, yeah, we're gonna go there because no other show does it, or no other show dares to do it. We would dare to do it. And so that's another thing also why I love Doom Patrol episode. You don't know what you would get in each episode every week. You just don't know. I have no idea what the next week's episode will. I can't predict it. And I can't predict how far out or how gross or how weird it would get. But I know deep down that they would be brave enough to cross that. And so, gotta give credit where credit is due. Such a fantastic show. If you haven't watched it, please do so. It's on DC Universe, which is DC's new digital streaming service. Um, you can also binge watch Titans there as well. The first season. Swamp Thing is coming up May 31st after Doom Patrol ends, season one ends, and then of course Titans will come back again with season two, all new season two, starting in the fall. So yeah, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Season one, episode 10 of today's Doom Patrol. Love it, love it, love it. Big fan of April Bowlby. I think April Bowlby is freaking hot. Thank you for tuning in on this live review. And as always, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Press that like button, ring that bell. And if you have also seen today's episode, let me know what you think about it. What did you think of today's episode? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And please support me at patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.